It started as just another ordinary school morning in a small town, the kind of day where the air feels calm but full of possibility. The bell rang, and students shuffled into class, carrying their backpacks, sleepy eyes, and quiet chatter. Their teacher, Mrs. Thompson, stood at the door, smiling warmly at each of them. To her students, she wasn't just another teacher. She was the kind of person who believed that every small act could create something extraordinary. For weeks, she had been thinking about how to teach her students something that couldn't be found in textbooks, something that could truly change their hearts. So one day, she made a decision that would turn her classroom into something completely different. She decided to start a kindness challenge. When the students walked in, they noticed something unusual written on the board. It said, "This week, we're not learning math or grammar, we're learning kindness." At first, the students giggled, thinking it was just one of her motivational quotes. But then she explained. Each student, she said, would have to perform one act of kindness every day, not for grades, not for rewards, but simply to make someone's day better. Some students looked confused, others looked curious. A few rolled their eyes, but Mrs. Thompson's smile didn't fade. She handed out small kindness journals. She had made herself little notebooks where each student would write what kind thing they did that day. She told them, "You'll be surprised at how powerful kindness can be. You might even change someone's life without realizing it." The first day was quiet. Many students weren't sure what to do. Some just held the door for others or shared pencils. It was simple, small. But by the second day, something started to shift. One girl named Emily, who was usually shy and quiet, noticed a classmate sitting alone at lunch. She walked over, sat down, and started a conversation. The boy smiled. It was the first time anyone had sat with him all year. Another student, Jake, known for being a little too cool for class projects, surprised everyone. He helped an elderly man carry groceries across the street after school. When Mrs. Thompson read his journal entry, she couldn't help but tear up a little. She hadn't expected the students to take it so seriously, but somehow they were doing more than she ever imagined. By the end of the first week, the energy in the classroom had completely changed. The students were smiling more, laughing more, even helping each other with homework. It wasn't about competition anymore, it was about compassion. And that, Mrs. Thompson realized, was more powerful than any lesson she could teach from a book. But she wanted to take it further. She gathered the students and told them they were going to do a kindness mission. Each group would brainstorm ways to spread kindness beyond the classroom, to the whole school, maybe even the town. The students' faces lit up with ideas. One group decided to write thank you letters to the cafeteria workers. Another planned to clean up the schoolyard without being asked. One group even made handmade cards for hospital patients nearby. Word spread fast. Soon other teachers noticed what was happening. They saw Mrs. Thompson's students holding doors, helping younger kids, and even leaving sticky notes with kind messages on lockers and walls. The principal called Mrs. Thompson to his office one day, but not because of trouble. He told her that he had never seen such a positive shift in the school's atmosphere. The kindness challenge had gone viral, not on social media, but in real life. Students who used to argue were now collaborating. Kids who were once isolated were suddenly surrounded by friends. Even the school's janitor said he felt appreciated for the first time in years because someone had left a card on his cart saying, "Thank you for keeping our school clean. You make our days brighter." As the weeks went on, the challenge grew bigger. The students decided to collect toys for children in need. They baked cookies for the local fire department. They raised funds to support an animal shelter. Each idea came from their hearts, not from Mrs. Thompson's instructions. She had planted a seed, and now it was growing wildly on its own. One day, she received an email from a parent. It said, "I don't know what you did, but my son is different now. He's kinder to his sister. He helps around the house. He talks about helping others instead of just himself. Thank you." Mrs. Thompson read it and smiled. That was exactly what she had hoped for. But the most touching moment came near the end of the semester. The students secretly planned something for their teacher. They knew she had been going through a tough time. Her husband had been sick, and she'd been working extra hours to cover medical bills. The students pooled their pocket money together and created something special. They made a huge poster filled with notes that said how much she had changed their lives. They also gave her a small gift card to her favorite coffee shop, nothing fancy, but filled with love. When Mrs. Thompson walked into the classroom and saw it, she couldn't hold back her tears. She hugged her students and said, "You've done it. You've learned the greatest lesson of all, that kindness always comes back." That day, the classroom was filled with warmth that words can hardly describe. Every student felt it, that invisible bond that kindness creates, the feeling that they had all become a part of something beautiful. The story didn't end there. The kindness challenge became a yearly tradition in the school. New teachers joined, new students took part, and the idea spread to other schools nearby. News outlets even picked up the story, calling it the school that chose kindness. But for Mrs. Thompson, the true success wasn't the attention. It was the change she saw in her students' hearts. Years later, some of those students grew up and came back to visit. One became a nurse, inspired by helping others. Another became a teacher, saying she wanted to create the same environment of kindness she once experienced. Another started a nonprofit for children in need. Every single one of them said that it all started with that one classroom challenge, the one where kindness became a habit, not just a word. Mrs. Thompson often looked back on that time and smiled to herself. She hadn't changed the world, but she had started a ripple that might, and that was enough. Sometimes the biggest lessons in life aren't written in chalk or printed on worksheets. Sometimes they're written in small gestures, a smile, a note, a helping hand. That's what Mrs. Thompson's students learned. And maybe that's what the world needs most right now, a reminder that kindness is still powerful, still contagious, still capable of turning ordinary people into heroes in quiet ways. In the end, the kindness challenge didn't just change a classroom. It changed lives. It reminded everyone that behind every heart, there's a spark waiting to shine. And sometimes, all it takes is one teacher, one idea, and one simple act of kindness to light it up. Because kindness doesn't fade. It echoes through words, actions, and the people who pass it forward. And that's how one small classroom, led by one passionate teacher, managed to blow everyone away.